Hi, it's Coach Christine. This is my podcast. It's the Your Empty Nest Coach podcast, and this is episode 120. If you are new here, know that I tend to use terms I've introduced in prior episodes. Should you feel a bit lost, use my show notes for best places to begin. In this episode, we are going to consider the statement, how to avoid empty nest syndrome. I work with mothers of high school students and beyond who are in the trenches with sad and possibly overwhelming thoughts about what their life will look like when their baby heads to college and begins to leave the nest. My client's big question is, what will I do with my time? Is this you? I've been there and I get it. Empowering you to write the next jaw-dropping, amazing chapter in your life is my passion. I am energized by leading you in the process of exploration and am thrilled when you unlock the power that lies within you. This podcast is my gift to you. Hello, my future empty nest friend and conscious, effective Olympian or CEO of your life. Wanting to avoid the empty nest syndrome? What? Okay, we'll get started in a moment, but show notes for this episode have links to anything I discuss that is linkable. And of course, you'll find all sorts of fun stuff and ways to work with me on my website, youremptynestcoach.com. If you enjoyed this episode, I invite you to subscribe to this podcast and to consider joining the GPS support flock. What is that? I'm so glad you asked. Take a listen. Thanks. Thank you. It's time to thank our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by my membership community, the GPS Support Flock, your flight to success in the empty nest. If you are ready to find the GPS of your life, sign up to receive an immediate and free download of my PDF, How to Find Yourself in the Empty Nest, our GPS Life Principles document. You will also have the opportunity to learn about our community. See the link in this episode's show notes or fly on over to my website, youremptynestcoach.com. Click the GPS Support Flock button. See you soon. How to avoid empty nest syndrome. All right, this is another topic that could be super quick. And I could just say, if you've been listening to me for a while, you already know that empty nest syndrome isn't a clinical diagnosis, so you can simply call it something else and voila, you are no longer in the empty nest syndrome. I know, it isn't that easy. Well, if you've cleared out your thoughts a ton, trained your protector, and are managing those thought deliveries, it might not be as difficult as you think. You do get to call this next chapter of your life whatever you want. An adventure, a creative process, a discovery. And don't feel limited by what I come up with. What ideas do you have? In front of you, you have the opportunity to create your life's next masterpiece. I want you to be the superhero of your own life. To be the CEO, the conscious, effective Olympian of your life as you move forward. So the short answer is we end there. Call it something else, something that makes you feel good and that you believe, and be done with it. There's a bit of a longer answer, though. And that's to head back to episode number 3 of my podcast and do some listening. The high level of that, I will encourage you to learn to be present in your life, to begin to notice the thoughts that enter your mind, to notice your emotions and to begin to lean into them rather than to run away from them. Or you can ignore them, shove them down deep somewhere, and they'll wait to pop up when you least expect it. I'll also introduce you to the idea that you have a protector of your mind. Some call this concept ego. And I'll challenge you to stop letting them run the show of your life. For you to train them so that they serve you well rather than boss you around. This is your time to claim you. This is your time to claim who you are moving forward. How do you avoid empty nest syndrome? If you Googled this topic and you've come across this podcast episode, you're probably either already in it or you're feeling like you're headed that way. So you have the opportunity now to get a head start. Consider what you call it. Realize that those thoughts that you have are optional. And if when you say, I have empty nest syndrome, and you notice that it makes you feel lousy, then let's get a piece of paper out. Let's write down what you think. Let's think about different ways to call this stage of your life so that you can feel good about it. I could give you 50 different ways, but I might not necessarily give you the one that resonates with you. This is your journey, and you'll have to do some work. I encourage you early to rely on yourself a bit more than me. I guide you to finding her because in the end, you know yourself better than anyone. Of course, I'm always here as a resource. You may listen to my podcast episodes if this is resonating with you. If you need a bit more support and want some guided resources, consider joining the GPS support flock. And to recap, your experience is your experience. Your thoughts that you have in your mind have a lot to do with your experience. Your prior experiences impact your thoughts. And if you're never in tune with noticing your thoughts, you may sit in empty nest syndrome for a really long time, or another stage of your life for longer than you need to do so. Do you want to avoid it? I don't know about you, but looking back, it's been an incredible gift for me. Noticing that I was entering into it, processing through it, and doing the work to become who I see in the future. I want that for you. You've taken the first step, noticing you're in this stage of your life or headed towards it. Your next step is to figure out how to enjoy the journey through the transition. When you avoid things, you miss out on experiences that are lovely, experiences that may be painful, but ultimately, experiences that allow you to grow into who you are meant to be. I know amazing things are in store for you. So I say dive in, get to work, enjoy the journey, and be more than you ever thought you could. The questions I have for you in this episode are: 1, have you experienced empty nest syndrome? 2, do you think it's avoidable? As always, I provide content to make you think, my empty nest friend. My hope is that I am able to provide you with thoughts that positively impact your life. My next episode's title is A Motherhood Memory Book and the Rest of 2020. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you like it. It's free after all. And always, 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 always remember that you are amazing. Oh, look at me saying nothing here and you're laughing at me. Funny. And I could just say, if you've been listening to me for a while, you already know that empty nest... talk with my hands. All right. Take 3. Oh, maybe we need like magic music there. Now I come up with the ideas. Still listening? I'm recording this in October and realizing that when this episode comes out, actually in the last one, our new president should have been elected. Well, it's 2020. Maybe something's up in the air. Who knows? Either way, no matter where we end up and which way you voted, know that it's okay to feel excited, disappointed, scared, angry. Notice those emotions, check your thoughts, ask if they are true, and work on your presence. What can you do in this moment right now, right here, to change it? If the answer is nothing, be present and be the best you in your life's circle of influence. There's more power in that than you may ever know.